Good evening, students. Welcome to Unacademy YouTube. How are you guys doing? Hi, Ria. Good evening, beta. Hi, Priyanka. I'm a topper queen. I'm glad. I hope you always keep topping. Very good evening, Vedant. All right, without wasting any time today, it's going to be a Q&A as you guys had requested because you had some questions and you wanted me to explain you the same. So let's just get going. Point number one, as you all know that the Ask 10 Doubts absolutely for free uh, is limited till this on the learning app and subscription. So please move ahead on your learning app and try to avail this valid offer only up till 20th of March. Okay. What exactly is this feature? Uh, I'm a class 12 student. Want to know about that class 2? Vedant, I'm glad. Beta class 12th, the plus course is already up on my profile, and you can definitely go ahead and check it. It is beginning on Monday. Um, it's on the sorry, it's beginning on the 10th, not Monday. 10th, we are starting from class 12th psychology, right from chapter 1, and we are going to do the entire revision just in case if you're doing it for this year. If you're doing it for the coming batch, then we would be having the beginning from the month of April. So the batch which I'm taking this month, it's going to be a pure revision batch, right from the first chapter till the end on Plus platform for the psychology class for class 12. Okay. So yeah, what is an ask a doubt feature? Basically, you can ask unlimited doubts, and as you know, any doubt anytime, you can just go ahead, get a high quality video solution in English and Hindi. You can probably receive exact matches of the question just sitting back home, selecting what exactly you require, and get all the assistance of the same. Now, how do you do that? These are the basic steps and procedures how you can actually grab the opportunity and avail. This year, fantastic, Vedant. You can just go enroll to the course. It begins from the 10th, 10th of March, beta. And below my Telegram channel link is given. You can actually come and join the special class I'm going to take in the evening, 7 p.m. I'm taking a special class for sociology. I would be pinning up my class 12th Telegram link in that class. Just join, get the Telegram group, get going into the group, and then you will be getting the details. I've done everything, just some tests or something. Fantastic. I would be taking the mock series also. Mock as in I would be taking some practice questions on the Plus platform. So if you would want, you can definitely enroll for the course, because I'm sure if you have taken the subscription, then you can still join in and you can ask all your questions and doubts. So won't be a problem. All right. So Vedant, I hope to see you at 7, and I hope to see you at the Telegram channel so it becomes easy for you. Hi Nana, good evening. Welcome to the class, beta. What are the determinants of operant learning? Yes, we will do everything. Let me just wrap up with quickly the promotions. So as I was telling you, that ask a doubt feature is the most important feature which is being recently launched by Unacademy, where you can exactly go ahead and check it out. You can actually take a picture, choose it from the gallery, then you can select a picture of your question. What is the next step? You have to highlight one specific question, then choose the subject that question falls under, and then you have to relax. You will get the answer of the question. Along with this Unacademy subscription features, you already know that you're going to get the educators which are top and the best ones of the industry. You will learn from their expertise. We will have live doubt clearing sessions. We will have mock test series. We will have subjective test series. We would be having daily practice sections and MCQs, all the things which are available on the Plus platform. So yes, thank you so much for all the information. I'm glad, Vedant, of all your help. I hope you do well. And like I told you, 10th of March, we are starting with another course. Come on board. Probably we will be having the doubt clearing session, whichever you have, whatever question or topic you would want me to repeat it, I will take it definitely for you. All right. So the subscription plan at Unacademy platform provides you opportunities to, take either the course from 1 month till 24 months. As an educator, I would request you to go for a high-end package because it definitely gives you a more leeway to what you want to learn and how you can plan your entire year. Iconic subscription is for the people who would want some, serious personalized learning along with the educator or the mentor, with the guidance, with study planner, whoever has a parent connect. The Unacademy iconic subscription pricing is a little different than what the plus pricing is, because as you see that this gives you a one-on-one experience and exposure with the people, and they get in touch with your parents and plan stuff. You can use the 10% discount. You can use my code URMILIVE, and you can avail the Plus and Iconic subscription, and you can get a 10% discount on the same. Earlier, we had planned to stop it, but yes, as per all the students and their requirement and request, we did not think of closing this down. So go ahead and grab this 10% discount offer. You can also avail these features for free if you use the code plus10. Get the apps on Google Play as well as the App Store. Now, there are some batches which we are commencing only for 1.5 months. These are basically for class 11th and 12th. As you can see, this is a 1.5 months batch. All right. So let me tell you, it comes with economics, history, pol science, geography from humanities, where this basically is on the Plus platform. Okay. And let me tell you, these are different subjects, but you can see some new faces along with Virender Sahini sir, who is going to take the political science. So there is still chance and scope. If you definitely want, go ahead and check it. Economics by Shantam sir, Nikki ma'am takes history, pol science by Virender sir, and Barsha ma'am for geography. We also have another batch of Let's Crack NCRT batches for CBSE Class 12 board examinations 2021 that begins and commence from 8th of March. That's Monday. Again, this is a 1.5 months course, because as you know that there are many changes right now on the platform. Most of the plus courses or the optional subjects are now being closed and shut, and that's only available for the plus kids. You can see a major change and drift that's done because most of the kids are going to get promoted from class 11 to 12th, and then we have to start a sharp batch. So this batch is apparently for the kids who are recently going to start, and as well there are students who are going to give their examinations and they still want to brush up. So this is basically for them. So these are some of the subjects with some of the new faces again. And yes, as you can see, Brajesh Bhavesh for history, Shubdas Chaudhary for social, Harshit for geography, Rishabh sir for economics, Anjali ma'am for pol science, Nupur ma'am for English. Go ahead and check them. These are all again the 1.5 months batch. And the timings of the same are given there: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. These are basically alternate days. If you have a look, these are alternate days. Okay, all the batches are different. So please go ahead and check them. All right. So with this, now we begin with the first chapter. But before that, let me take the questions one by one. Priyanka, the way you have given questions, it's very difficult to take it on a live YouTube class. Together, all the questions you have put on, it won't be justified if I only take up your questions. So please let everyone get one chance and opportunity. I will start with your first question, but then I will take Ria's question, and then we would move to Nena's question. Okay, so the next time I would request Priyanka, let the educator come, let us start taking the class, and then while we discuss, then put your questions, because then it's easy. I understand that you're a topper, but this is the drill. This becomes easy when every student is online. All right, so that becomes easy then. So let us take Priyanka's first question, guys. Let me first take Priyanka's first question. There are so many. See, it's very tough, Priyanka. Okay, the first one you have written is Maslow's theory of actualization. Okay, what exactly is the Maslow's theory of self-actualization? The moment we understand Maslow, understand this one as self-actualization, which is the ability to become the best version of oneself. So Maslow stated that this tendency might be phrased as the desire to become more and more what one actually is, and to become everything that one is basically capable of. Of course, we hold different values, desires, and capabilities. So his concept slowly and steadily, or very straightforwardly, referred to the highest level or stage in the where the model of human motivation is the hierarchy of needs. Okay, if you actually go through according to the hierarchy of needs, self actualization represents the highest order of motivations which drive and realizes that our true potential, and is which is our ideal to ourself. When it comes to justify the statement, it is very, very easy. Okay, now the next one you have added in it, that James Lane's theory. Now, James Lane's theory is basically, Priyanka, which suggests that emotions are a result of your physical changes, okay, in the body. So, according to James Lane, what exactly he wanted to state and modify here, that our body's responses are to an emotional event, which is actually correct. When you're emotionally drained and drowned, your body reacts in the same way. When you're happy and enthused, your body reacts the same way. Examples such as racing heart, sweating. Okay, or you can say, for example, uh, this makes up what emotional intelligence is. Very good evening, Dinesh. Welcome to the class, beta. Okay, and the last one, you're asking to justify Cannon-Bard theory. Now, this concept of Cannon-Bard, Priyanka, what is it? This is again emotional expression, which is forming the function of hypothalamic structures, okay, and the emotional feeling which results to form stimulations of the thalamus. Now, this is an important part because this is about brain. So, this portion apparently will not come because they have removed physiological changes also in subjective feeling of an emotion in responses to a stimulus which is separate and independent. Okay, the arousal which does not have to occur before the emotion. Thus, the thalamic region is attributed with a major role in this theory of emotion. So the theory is therefore also referred to the thalamic theory of emotion. This has to be justified, and all the three statements can be justified with each other, beta, because somewhere or the other it's connected, Priyanka. Let's take the next question now. I think Naina had quoted one question. Okay, Naina, Naina Gupta, your question. Ma'am, what are the determinants of operant learning? Okay, this is very simple, beta. Please remember the types of there are different types. One is positive, one is negative. You have to understand what is a frequency, what is quality, what is a schedule, or what is a reinforcer of the determinants of operant conditioning. So what exactly is this? First is classical conditioning, which is a type of learning in which the organism learns to associate with stimulus. Second is conditioning, which is the simplest form of learning. So how you can basically try to define the meaning of the same? How can you actually say the concept of the feature or concept of learning or the features or the characteristics? Learning kya hota hai? Learning is nothing but something which involves some kinds of experiences or practice. Okay, something kind of changes due to maturation of growth, or something which is not learning. But how can you give the determinants here? Very simple. The way it is given, determinants are basically the time relations that can be a part of the stimuli. Okay, simultaneous conditioning, it can be trace conditioning, it can be backward conditioning. Type of unconditioned stimuli is also a major part. Intensity is a major part. So basically what you have to continuously focus on the determinants of operant learning is mostly focused on the criteria about classical conditioning, which is one of the type of learning which has organism which learns to associate stimulus. Second is the conditioning, which is the simplest form of learning. Now this you can spread it across. So always remember, you have to first, Naina, when you start writing the answer, because I've told this all n number of times, that do not forget to give the answer in points. So always make sure, beta, that your answer, whichever you're mentioning and whichever you're writing in, please explain first what is operant conditioning. Operant conditioning refers to the conditioning of behaviors and responses that are under the control of animals and human beings and are emitted voluntarily by them. Okay, so the behavior is learned, maintained, or changed through its consequences, which are also called as reinforcers. All right, this is Nana's question. Let's take question number, one second. Okay, now Ria's question. I think Ria had put across a question. Ria, can you please repeat the question, beta? Okay, I got it. Ria is asking, ma'am, can you please inform what is, ma'am, can you please repeat to what is operant learning definition? Yes, Nana, I will again repeat. I hope you this time you note it down, beta. Ria is asking, what is generalization and discrimination? See, beta, generalization, Ria, in psychology is the tendency, okay, or the way you respond to some way which is different, but the similar stimuli exist here. Okay, learning may be considered as a balance of generalization, and discrimination is basically the factor where the ability is to respond to the differences among stimuli. So what is the difference between generalization and discrimination? Psychology's definition here in discrimination is the same: organism which responds differently to different stimuli. This means that you discriminate in your reactions in two different animals. But in generalization, on the other hand, the organism has the same reaction to different stimuli. Okay, so what is discrimination? The ability to perceive and respond to differences among the stimuli. This is also considered to be very advanced form of learning than generalization, where the ability is to perceive the similarities, although animals can also be trained, okay, to discriminate, okay, or as well as to generalize. All right, Ria. Okay, now let's move ahead to Naina's question one more time. Okay, so you are basically, Naina is asking, ma'am, can you please repeat to what is operant learning definition? Okay, operant learning or conditioning. Sometimes this is referred to an instrumental conditioning, which is a method of learning. Okay, that employs rewards and punishments for behavior. So, though operant conditioning is an association which is made between a behavior and a consequence, whether negative or positive, for that behavior. So, what is an example of operant learning, beta? Um, imagine the operant conditioning or learning process. Deliberately behaviors are reinforced. Okay, now if the dog then gets better at sitting and staying in order to receive a treat, it means that it is an example of operant conditioning, because you told him, if you sit there, bozo, I am going to give you two biscuits. Sit there, then I'm going to give you two biscuits. वो बेचारा बैठता है. When you give that treat to that dog, this is a kind of operant learning. Rat experiment, the dog experiment, any experiment where you're trying to explain that this, if you do, then you will get this treat. Okay, Priyanka's second question. All right, Priyanka's second question देखते हैं, चलो. Okay, Priyanka's next question is, Ebengos curve is an important qualitative tool in psychology. Explain the significance of this curve. Which method of inquiry in psychology is used for data collection? Plot a rough graph. Priyanka, I will explain you what this is, but this is a class 11th class beta. I would genuinely request you to ask the question from the syllabus, not for you to understand, but for the kids who have their examination. This is thoroughly designed for them, because they are the ones who have requested me to take it today, and that's the reason amidst the sociology class I have taken this today, because they have their exams on the 8th. Okay, so there's Ria here, she actually has her exam on the 8th. So if I start answering all these in a class 11 class, it becomes difficult beta, but still, if you've asked it, I will explain you. Okay, so basically, Ebengos was a psychologist who basically defined and discovered about the forgetting theory. What exactly was the forgetting curve? That in this theory, okay, or the memory of them, which was quickly decayed, okay, the phenomena of learning and the promptly forgetting information was basically to be very familiar than anyone who has tried to cram the night before an exam. Another way of putting this is, forgetting curve is initially when you try to sleep, everything you try to forget. This basically explains the struggle of humans, okay, in learning, which is very hard. So what is it? It basically learning, which is an evolutionary process, and among these species, individuals have to adapt their environment. Only then they will succeed. But here in this theory, it is the concept of Hermann Ebbinghaus memory experiment, the forgetting curve, which is a mathematical formula. Okay, Priyanka. So this describes the rate in which something is forgotten and something is automatically initially learned. The idea is over two, I think it's not just 200, I think it's just 100-year old. okay, where it originates in the 19th century by the German psychologist here, who was among the first scientists to perform this experiment, just to explain you how the pattern of memory works. Okay, so if you're planning it from here, he performed the experiment himself. If you've seen the theories, DIEF, LAJ, LEU, MUV, VWC, DAL, SEN, KEP, these are the syllabus, and these syllables help you to explain and understand that if you know, he basically tested himself periodically just to see that how many of the nonsense syllables he actually remembered at various points of time. So he discovered that the memory of them was quickly decayed. That means it was tough. So this was the concept behind the Ebengos curve theory, which was a mathematical formula. Okay, now let's move ahead. Ma'am, the question I asked was was from class 11th only. Yes, your teacher must have given you the periodic test, but in the final examinations, if you actually see the deleted syllabus and if you see the deleted portion, this question was not coming, and that's the reason we have not decided. But yes, if you have got it in school, that's the reason I explained it for you, beta. Depending in which board you are studying. Very good evening, Avantika. Welcome to the class. Nana says, ma'am, I also have my exam on 9th. Great. My dog name is Oreo. All right. Very good. So you will tell Oreo, sit there, I will give you an Oreo. Let's take the next question. Okay, Nana's question is, ma'am, what is social psychology? Okay, so beta, what basically social psychology? Social psychology is a method which is used to understand and explain how the thoughts, feelings, behavior, individuals are influenced by the actual or imagined or probably something that they imply to the presence of other human beings. Okay, now how can you define the social psychology concept? This is the study of how individual of a group behavior is influenced by the presence or behavior of others. For example, if I'm with you and I'm trying to just behave like you, the way you are, the way you're behaving, every single part and parcel here explains that as an individual I'm trying to relate to you and behaving in the same way. Now this comes across a wide ranging topic of prejudice, friendship, romance, attraction, persuasion, aggression. You can develop many qualities in social psychology. Okay, let's take the next question now. Anybody else? Okay, Ria has a question. Ma'am, what is the difference between autobiographical and episodic memory? Okay, Ria, episodic memory basically is about the recollection, okay, of events in one's past. Episodic as in the past, what has happened in his past. Autobiographical memory is one's personal history that may include episodic memories in addition to other facts about themselves, such as one's place of birth. Okay, so episodic memory involves remembering and being aware of the continuity of experiencing self across time, whereas autobiographical memory refers to the information that directly involves and the way rememberer but not entail the same subjective awareness, which is important. Okay, so an example of episodic memory can be given as your memories of going to the school for the first time, or probably kissing for the first time, your first kiss, episodic memory, or your first school party, something like that. Others quickly ask. So this was episodic. I hope, Ria, you have understood. And similarly, if I have to give you an autobiographical incident or example which you have to remember, you can say that it can be, you have to remember something about your birthday. How can you do that? You have to be specific in it, because it is a memory system which is consisting of the episodes. All right, for example, people and the events who experience at particular time or particular place. Okay, this has happened with me. Semantic, general knowledge, the facts about the world. Where is Taj Mahal? Okay, where is this located? Ria, did you understand, beta? Only if it's clear, then say. Okay, Nana's question: what are the levels of processing? Okay, Nana, if you know that the levels of processing is basically the model by Crack and Lockhart. Okay, now this is basically shallow, STEM, and the deep model. So, what exactly was it? It focuses on the processing, deep depth of processing, which is involved in memory and predicts the deeper information which is processed. Okay, now remember, the longer a memory traces, that will last. The basic idea that memory is really what will happen as just a result of a processing information. Now there are different levels of processing. The difference in how people attend to information forms basis of Crack and Lockhart's level of processing. This theory, remember, this theory which processes the humans undertake the three levels, which is shallow, immediate, or deep. Okay, when we are dealing with the verbal information. So the three levels are shallow, intermediate, and deep. Shallow, intermediate, and deep. Very simple. Priyanka is saying first date. Very nice, Priyanka. Very great example. Very good answer. Okay, ma'am. Next question. Let's see. Okay. Again, Nana has a question. Nana says, ma'am, what is semantic memory? Beta, semantic memory is involving capacity of recalling words, recalling, okay, the concepts, the numbers, which is basically essential in the use of understanding language. Okay, so that is basically a semantic memory when you have to learn alphabets or the words or the collection of a word, a concept, or probably a number is known as semantic memory. Okay, Ria is asking, ma'am, can you please explain the Kohlers experiment in brief? See, Kohlers experiment was basically used. What he did, Kohler basically tried to use four chimpanzees, okay, in his experiments. Chica, Grained, Consul, and I think I'm not remembering Sultan. There were four basically chimpanzees. He was being, they were being named. And in one experiment, Kohler placed the bananas outside Sultan's cage and two bamboo sticks inside his cage. So neither the stick was long enough to reach the bananas. So the only way to reach them was to put the sticks together. Okay, so his theory was basically based on the theory which advocates that when particular situation is being learnt It does not help to learn in parts, but it helps to learn as a whole, where slowly and steadily things were moving ahead. So please remember, Ria, if you're listening, please remember that if you have to ask, if they give you that definition, and if they ask you to tell that what did you learn from the Kohlers experiment. So what exactly is the experiment here with the apes? That these animals uh, exhibit insight, that they demonstrate intelligent behavior that is common in humans. So Kohler states that these findings hold true for every member of the species. So it's not just the apes, it's these human beings as well. Any questions again, guys? Okay, insight learning. Let me first take Priyanka's. Uh, Priyanka, you've only written that question, beta. Except for that, you've not written any question. Okay, what is insight learning? Ria is asking. Ria, insight learning theory is basically an immediate and clear learning or understanding which takes place without any overt trial and error testing. So insight occurs in human learning when people recognize relationships or make novel associations between objects or actions which can help them to solve their problem. So it will not take any sort of theories in that you don't have to do any trial and error. So this is simple insight learning. So again, Kohler's insight learning was one of the major examples here. So what was it that he found that chimpanzees could use the insight learning instead of the trial and error method. You know, in one of the examples where he also told that the banana which was placed in the way to reach it, they actually stacked boxes on top of each of the other and reached out there and sticks the stick basically in which that the banana is being knocked down. So that's insight learning. No, there's no other thing compounded here, main thing here. No, I don't have doubt in insight learning. Was telling that it is example of Kohlers experience. Fantastic. Yes, it is. Let's see the next question. Nana's question again is basically, ma'am, can you please explain the transfer or learning of learning? Transfer of learning again is a theory in which will occur between two tasks, where two tasks will share a set of common stimulus features. Okay, now this means that the class of the task has to be particularly learned skill, which has to be transferred, which has to be definable with their a careful analysis, or you can say the conditions of original learning here. So what are the three types again? The three types of learning is from prior to knowledge of learning, okay, from new to learning, and from learning to application. Okay, so this was basically from the Simons, where the issue of transfer of learning is a central issue in both education and in learning psychology. Okay, so what is the transfer theory? The transfer theory is the emotional response which can be identified by the arousal from other stimuli and not directly related to the stimulus, the originality which is provoked by the responses, guys. Other questions? Ria, any questions, guys? I'm waiting. Nena, okay. Hi, Bahudreen, Ali. Very good evening, guys. How are you? So, Ria's question on what is basically Priyanka's smiley ke niche. There's a question I received from Ria. She's asking principles of perceptual organization. Ria, as simple beta, the law of closure. This is the most important example of the gestalt law, okay, of perceptual organization. So according to this principle, things in the environment often tend to be seen as a part as whole. Okay, so in many cases our minds will even fill in the missing information to create very cohesive shapes. You've actually seen that there are some different sort of shapes if you have studied it carefully. So what exactly gestalt psychologists have found here, that this is a set of properties which are important in the perceptual organization of images or the real world. So there are symmetry, there's similarity, there is proximity, there is closure, there is smoothness, which has to continue, or what you can call as continuity, or and a common region. That's basically the principles of perceptual organization. Okay, now let's take Priyanka's question. Okay, Dr. Sun and Dr. Moon. Priyanka's question. Okay, guys, Dr. Sun and Dr. Moon are going to observe and record children's play behavior in a nursery school without attempting to influence or control or the behavior. Which method of the research is involved? Okay, so Priyanka, this basically is as simple as the non-participant method observation. Okay, which is to observe and record the children's behavior. So what here? What is it that you have given Dr. Sun and Dr. Moon? Okay, so basically, what Dr. Sun would use the method of non-participant observation to observe and record the children's behavior at play without attempting to influence or control the behavior, and he would sit in a corner and observe the children's behavior without them being aware of it. So he would also note the behavior of children while playing. Okay, now how they interact with each other or their reactions towards winning or losing. He would collect all the data and file and match the conclusion with the hypothesis. Now, there are different merits of non-participant observation and there are different demerits also. So if you ask me, this is the non-participant observation beta. This is the method. No, it's not observation, it's the non-participant observation. Ria has written non-participant. No, no, Ria, it's not. How can it be non-part? How can it be observation method? It is clearly mentioned that it is the method of non-participant observation. Because she's asking, no, she's clearly mentioned that the without attempting to influence or control the behavior. Which method of research is involved here? Hi Kirti, good evening, welcome to the class. So Priyanka, I hope I've answered it better. I've answered your question, all right? Perceptual organization is done. I've taken Priyanka's question of Dr. Sun and Dr. Moon. Bahardeen, please, I'm here, beta. Please go ahead and ask your question, beta. 40 time. Oh, very smart. हाँ मुझे क्वेश्चन करके भी चाय पीने जाओगे तुम लोग. Very bad. Okay, now Priyanka has asked one more question. Closure of law. Okay, closure law is simple. Yeah, law of closure क्या बोलते हैं? Which states and individuals that the individuals perceive any object such as a shape, letter, picture. Okay, such as being whole. Well, they are not complete. So specifically, when the parts of the whole picture are missing, our perception will fill in that visual gap. That's basically the law of closure here. Ma'am, can you please explain me? Okay, one second. Kirti has a question. Kirti is asking, ma'am, can you please explain me cognitive basis of emotion? Absolutely, Kirti. The term cognitive theory of emotion क्या represent करता है? It denotes a family of emotions and theories to it. Okay. Now this is basically developed mostly in psychology and philosophy, where they share the assumption, okay, that the emotions which are in the episodic traits of person developed in everyday language words like joy, sadness, hopes, fears, angers, pity, or at last a core, So, what are the cognitive aspects of emotions here? That emotion has a substantial influence beta on cognitive process in the human beings, including perception, attention, learning, memory, reasoning, and problem solving. Okay, emotion has a particularly strong influence on attention. So, especially modulating the what do you call selectivity. It's a selective concept here. Selectivity or attention, as well as motivating action and the behavior together, is a major part of it. Now there are three bases of emotion also. The components consist of psychological, expressive commandments, and somewhere or the other it also includes a subjective experience. But please remember, whenever you write this answer, Kirti, please remember that you have to mention what is a cognitive emotional interaction. So basically, the close function relationship between social cognition and emotion might be understood in terms of a central role for the mental state of attribution or in the understanding, learning, and regulation of emotion. Let's take the next one. Okay, now there's one question from Nena. Ma'am, what is skill learning? Nana, skill learning is basically learning to perform a task with some kind of proficiency, which is with ease, accuracy. For example, you're trying to learn something, you're trying to play music, you're trying to learn a dance. As simple as that, beta. This is just learning to perform a task with proficiency, and that can be defined with ease, practice, and as simple as that. This is the learning skill. It consists of basically a chain of perceptual motor responses or the sequence of stimulus response association. Okay, now the stages in development of skill learning, which is cognitive, the learner has to understand and memorize the instruction which are performing by the task. So this is simple, as adaptive as the skill learning can be. Okay, ma'am, thanks. Great. Ma'am, what's the plan for Saturday night? I have a movie night. That's great. You have a movie night. I have a class after this, and after this, then I have one more class. And after that, probably I will eat something good and try to be happy. Priyanka, that's bad, yaar. You have a movie night, yaar. I'm not able to watch any movie also. Your exams and I'm struggling. Okay, Priyanka is asking me, ma'am, do we include the principle of exclusion and inclusion in learning? Yeah, see, Priyanka, somewhere or the other, if you relate that the principle of inclusion and exclusion, PII, which is basically called as PI, okay, is a counting technique, okay, which basically computes the numbers and the elements which satisfy at least one of these several properties while guaranteeing the elements satisfying one property which is not counted. So this is basically the concept of psychology and maths, okay. So that is what it states the finite states and sets basically and the intersections here. All right. So yeah, I think that's all from my end today and tonight, because I have a class on the special platform now at 7 p.m. So I'm gonna see you guys very very soon. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'm hoping that this has helped you guys, and you are happy with this, because I have answered almost as many questions that I could. All right. So anybody who's watching this, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself, stay safe, my regards, and don't forget to comment on the section if you have any particular chapter if you would want me to take. uh, there's one last class of sociology full revision left out, so very soon I'm going to guys do it. And Ria, I'm hoping that you're happy. Nana, best of luck. Ria, best of luck. Priyanka, do well, keep doing always great. And yeah, Kirti, congratulations for joining in, and do well guys. Take care of yourself, stay safe, lots and lots of love, and bye bye.